Good morning, everybody, and this is your Forex day trade setups for today. So this week has been really messy on Euro USD, and you can see selling coming in off the top here. Trend is down, so to be expected. Crossover the moving averages and pointing down. I suspect that is the high that we have achieved, and we are now looking to continue our journey to the downside. So at the moment, we are sideways on the hour. You can see big up, big down. Nothing really materializing. So I'd want to see a break of 101,763, pull back and retest it before getting in on any trades on this pair. So I'm sit on hands until that happens. If we, and I'm just going to use this area here, if we start breaking above 102,723 and we find support up there, that would trigger longs for me. But at the moment, I suspect this is the level we need to be paying attention to. 101,763. Break and retest of that. It is continuation of the bigger trend to the downside. Moving on to US dollar, Japanese yen, and been sideways all week, and now we have this gap down and moving up. So this is a piercing pattern that is starting to form, which is a fairly bullish pattern as well, and that bodes well with the setup we see on Euro USD. So if we drop down to the hour here, you can see yesterday was a pretty big rejection. We've got moving average, sorry, the oscillators group to the downside and sort of pointing up. I think we're going to have to wait for 137,964 to give way before we start looking at that. Any rejection here at 137,964, I would then reckon we're probably going to continue to the downside. There is another gap to the downside, so which could just looking for a reason for it to go down, and that's probably the closest reason. We've closed that gap, but we didn't close this gap, so that would be the closest reason. 136,044. But we need to see what happens here in the rejection. We've got a crossover and we've got the 155 EMA. So this is what I'd be waiting for. Probably worthwhile waiting for that on the 15-minute. Yeah, look, the oscillators all grouping to the upside as well. So yeah, if this 8-hour bar plays out, which is a piercing pattern, it could continue higher. But if you look at the lower time frames, good possibility that we start finding rejection in this area here. So from 137,716 through to 137,694. 137,964 is the line in the sand. We need to find support above there, break above, find support for that to continue to the top of the range. Alternatively, we need a rejection there for a continuation to the downside. So well worth watching today, I think. Both dollar pairs. Moving on to British pound, Japanese yen. Similar kind of setup brewing here. We do have a crossover with moving averages. Oscillators have eased off a little bit. Lots of chaos still left. But if we start dropping down to the hour, you'll see range-based trade yesterday dropped down, and then we're hovering around this 155 EMA. I think if we can get back below 164,745, continuation to the downside, you could be looking for a rejection off one of these tails here. So get price to move back up and then a rejection for the continuation to downside as well. I just want to pop back to the 8-hour here. So we're trying to find support up here, but just looking at this pattern here, look at all the sellers coming in, lower highs forming, oscillators crossed over, pointing to the downside. I think you have a setup brewing here for a short today. So rejection area, and probably look at the 15 minutes as well. We've closed the gap, bit of a wedge forming, but any of these inside tails here could offer resistance as well. I'd wait for the European Open and then have a look at that. But I think the bias for this one today is a short, definitely short brewing, and potentially a trend reversal. There's the uptrend on the hour. Now we have a potential trend reversal here. We just need to see a retest of structure and a price action indicating that. So inside bar, engulfing bar or pin bars off this level, and then you're looking for the break of that structure, stop just above it, and you're looking for a continuation down. If it gets moving early in the morning, it may actually be worth holding over the weekend as well, because you may have a bigger setup brewing. Anyway, moving across to Euro, British Pound, complete chaos on this pair still. And the sellers are coming in here. They're not allowing this thing to run. It's just the structure is just all over the place at the moment. So you can see we ran away from the moving averages and then rejection higher up, and I'm assuming it's off that gap, so that gap is still open, hasn't closed properly. But just look to the left here. You can see all this chaos here. So lots of support or resistance trying to form up here, and that's at 085867, which has failed. Big pin bar. So if we just have that macro view in your head and drop down to the hour, right now we are ranging, but I would be interested in a short only once we drop below here at 084954. We need to get above this area and find support above that area. That's at 085376 for the longs to come back into play. So until that happens, this is sit on hands. We are sideways, and I don't see any other opportunities. I suppose you had opportunities here for longs on the 155, but man alive, big up, big down, big confusion. Not something that's conducive to trading decently. Lastly on this pair is a big head and shoulders formed here. So there's a double left shoulder, here's your head, and here's your right shoulder. So you might as well just add that structure in there, and this becomes a London breakout strategy. So as soon as you start, you get a 15-minute close below whatever the range is. So remember, the first 7 1-hour bars, we've only 4 bars in at the moment. So you get a break below that. There's your head and shoulders inside a bit of a range. So there's a strong possibility, break, retest, nice opportunity for a short. I'd take some off on 084954. If we break below that, then you're looking for the height of this head and shoulders as your target to the downside, and that becomes quite juicy. But looking to the left, any one of these inside tails could stop the momentum to the downside. So be cautious. I think be cautious. Get down to lower time frames and keep your stops as tight as you possibly can, and position size as small as possible as well. Anyway, that's kind of my view today. I hope it helps, and we will catch up with you on Monday morning. Enjoy your weekend, and cheers for now.